Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. In a Saturday night, and we will be doing our NFL mock draft. Three of the teams this week. Four teams that's drafting this week. This week we're doing AFC South. Very interesting thing. This division is in what I would say a flux right now. It's two teams that are kind of like right there at the precipice of good, and the other two teams are really bad. So I got my co-host, Dwayne, my guy. We've been doing this thing, like I always say, we've been doing this thing for a long time, and we talk about all sports. And before we get into the show, man, and I know Dwayne probably thought about it, but he probably didn't mention it when we was discussing pre-show. We want to give our thoughts and prayers for Tiger Woods, and hopefully he has a speedy recovery, because Tiger Woods, at the end of the day, for a lot of us, brought attention to a sport that wasn't getting a lot of attention, because it was considered just having older white guys in the sport. Outside of Vijay Singh and a couple other Indian people that played, Tiger Woods brought the sport to a national spotlight, being the first, as we would say, African American to win the Masters back a long, long time ago. It's amazing. It's amazing how long ago it was, But hopefully he gets a speedy recovery, because he was in an accident this week. What's up, Wayne?
Not much. And on that note, we'll just say a quick rest in peace to Louis Nix, who played for Notre Dame, played maybe a couple of years in NFL. He's been going through some different things in his life, some different challenges. And he was reported by his family as lost yesterday, but it was just announced that, unfortunately, he passed away. So rest in peace to Louis Nix, and prayers to his family. Definitely an unfortunate thing. And, hey, mental illness is a real thing, man. We gotta understand that it's a real thing, and we won't go too deep into it, but we'll just send our prayers and condolences for Mr. Louis Nix.
That's right. So, this is the fun part of the mock draft show, because literally, we can actually say the Jackson Jaguars been on the clock all year long.
They've been on the clock. You're talking about the AFC South. You got two 11-5 teams, a 4-12 team that might as well be 0-16, because they got a big problem. That being the Houston Texans. I think they're in the worst shape in the league right now, because they got a disgruntled superstar. So you don't know what's going to happen with that. Jacksonville is the reboot, man. New coach, new number one draft pick, which means it's going to be a new quarterback. Not too much to have to go into with Jacksonville. I mean, we could start there. We know what their draft need is. We know who the player is going to be. And there's no other reason to say potential picks when they got the number one pick in the draft. And we know that they're going to go with a kid that's been deemed a can't-miss prospect since he left high school and went to Clemson. Trevor Lawrence, he has all the measurables, has all the tools, very heady kid, bunch of success at Clemson, and really he's the slam dunk number one pick, man. Not much to discuss with the Jaguars in the first pick in the draft. But shout out to Jaguar Wire. We'll give them a credit. And they listed their draft needs as 1 quarterback, 2 offensive tackle, 3 corner, 4 tight end, and a 5 an interior defensive lineman. Basically, a defensive tackle, nose guard, 1 tech, 3 tech, depending on how Urban Meyer wants to go about it. So, I mean, I don't know, Q. It's not much to say about Jacksonville. We know that they're gonna go with the next can't miss great white hype quarterback. You know what I mean?
I happen to have some highlights. Would you like me to show them?
Please, because he's phenomenal.
It's up to you.
He's phenomenal. Run the clips.
What I thought that was surprising about him is that his athleticism is a little deceiving. He's a better athlete than most people think. Like he gets on his horse. He reminds me of Josh Allen in a way. Like once he gets on his horse out that pocket, it's a problem.
Even Stephen A. Smith can't get this one wrong. Because remember, Stephen A. Smith last year was talking about Dwayne Haskins being a running quarterback. Even he can't get this one wrong. All right. Trevor Lawrence, very athletic. He can do it with his feet, but it's that golden arm, man. And you'll see from the highlights.
Shout out to College Films. They always provide us with good stuff, and they definitely own the copyright and the copyright to these clips, and we just using them for educational purposes and purposes to show on the show.
Play action, Lawrence down the seam, wants Rodgers, touchdown!
They were here for that loss to Pitt during that national championship season. Lawrence airing it out deep, and Powell has it! And he's tripped up at the 5-yard line by A.J. Woods.
No to me, when it came to recruitment in high school, I want them to lose every game.
Trevor Lawrence, he's going to look up top. He's got a man behind the defense. Once again, it's Amari Rodgers, and he'll go the distance. Anything you can do, I can do better.
Clemson needs the 12-yard line. Lawrence is going to go to the end zone, has a man, caught, touchdown. Amari Rodgers.
Up than it's been about him this year.
Here's Lawrence for the keeper in the clear. Lawrence headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. Got one hand on the trophy now.
That's what you're going to have to figure out as a voter.
Another downfield shot of Powell again. This time no interference, no drop. Touchdown Tigers as they do plunge the knife in to the Hokies with a deep shot. And Powell, after a quiet start, makes an electric play.
Continues for Clemson. Now a red zone opportunity. Lawrence looking for 6. Nearly intercepted, but it's caught for a touchdown. Frank Ladson, the sophomore from Miami.
Minute and a half to go till the half. Lawrence, corner to the end zone, caught for a touchdown. J.C. Chalk, the senior tight end, with his first career touchdown reception.
Sack in the first Notre Dame possession to force the long field goal. Lawrence to throw on first down, and we'll take a shot. Wide open is Rodgers, and he's gone. Just like that, Clemson takes the lead.
Lawrence, back left corner of the end zone for Amari Rodgers, and they do it again. Another Clemson touchdown.
Each team has had it once, and now Clemson from its own 8. A play fake to Travis Etienne, and a deep throw by Trevor Lawrence. He hits Amari Rodgers in stride.
And 4. 4-man rush. Lawrence steps up, delivers across the middle, and wide open is Williams. Williams headed to the end zone, and the Tigers.
Dwayne,
Yes, sir.
One thing I noticed about him, I didn't realize how big he was. 6'6".
Yeah, 6'6".
And it's crazy because like we've been hearing can't miss since he stepped on campus down in Clemson. And let me ask you a question. A lot of times we don't see quarterbacks from that SEC are going to come out, and it's funny that we're doing this division because the last really good quarterback that came out of this division, came out of that division in college and going into that division is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
do you think that the competition makes them better?
ACC, they're in the ACC, so some people will want to say the ACC is not on the level of the SEC or the Big Ten, but man, you're still playing some blue bloods. You're still playing Miami. You're still playing Florida State. You know what I mean? You're playing the Louisville, Georgia Tech. So he's still playing against top level competition. I'm not saying it's the SEC. I'm not saying it's the Big Ten. But he's not playing NAIA schools. And hell, I'm looking at those clips of Trevor Lawrence, and I'm like, damn, Amari Rodgers may be a first-round pick as well. And he was catching all the touchdowns.
Yeah. And what's funny? He catching it in stride. Like he really gives him his catch radius. I don't know what these professional scouts are saying. His catch radius ain't too. It's kind of wide. Like just throw it.
He ain't being mentioned. It
reminds me. It reminds me of the old Randy Moss quote. Just throw it up and I go get it.
Yeah, listen, man. You won't hear me say anything negative about Trevor Lawrence. I know we're still 2 months away from the draft, April 29th. Tomorrow's February 28th. And I think now people just nitpicking. You had this week people coming out, June Jones. I respect June Jones. He's been in the game, college, pro, CFL, but he's saying that Zach Wilson is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. Listen, June Jones knows more football than I'll ever know. But me being a college football guy and watching college football and even high school football and loving both, it as much, if not more than NFL, man, I've seen this kid do it. I've seen Zach Wilson do it too. I'm a Zach Wilson fan. But to me, the clear-cut number one pick in this draft is Trevor Lawrence. That's why I understand Jet fans that are upset that they won those couple of games. But, hey, Jacksonville, new coach, new quarterback, not much more you can say than that, man.
Yeah. It's just, he definitely has it all. So let me see who's next. Let me try to remember. Oh, the Colts. No, team.
The Colts. Yeah.
The Colts.
So, a lot of people, when Phillip Rivers, retired, he's going to be a high school football coach now. We wish him the best. A lot of people said quarterback was their number one need, but then they made the trade, so they got Carson in town. He won't be wearing his number 11. Michael Pittman Jr. said, I'm not giving it up. So it'll be a new start for Carson, new number, new start. And, so that takes one of their needs away. But we're going to go with PFF for their draft needs, giving them the credit. And they're saying the number one need is an edge rusher. They're saying an offensive tackle, a corner, a wide receiver, or once again, you'll hear us say it a lot. This is the new term that I'm finding for 2021, IDL, interior defensive lineman. They don't just say defensive tackles anymore. They say IDL.
Yeah.
That could be a 1-tech, 3-tech, nose guard. It's not your Pops NFL anymore, folks. They got specialists for everything now. So some of the names that are potentially being thrown out there for the Colts at 21 is the big fella from Virginia Tech, Christian Darrisaw, slot receiver Elijah Moore out of Purdue, Tyson Campbell, who's a 6'2" corner out of Georgia, good cover guy. He could play cover 3, could play cover 2. Man to man, he has to work on that. I think he's more of a cover 2, cover 3. Give him a little cover 1 type corner. Man to man, he'll work on, but hey man, you 6'2", 185-pound corners don't grow on trees. Another name that we talked about and we will continue to talk about is Elijah Vieira Tucker, and who I think would be a perfect pick for the Colts. It's who I mocked for them, and Let's Talk Mock 1.0 is the cornerback J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. Very interesting thing happened with Mr. Horn today, and it's on Twitter if people want to go check it out. Mr. Horn today worked out with one Jalen Ramsey. So Jalen Ramsey is training, in essence, J.C. Horn. And who better to learn the game of cornerback in NFL from than Jalen Ramsey? For those who can remember, one Joe Horn, number 87 of the New Orleans Saints, he's the one that hid the cell phone in the goalpost and went and got it after he scored. This is his son. Very aggressive corner. Likes to get after you. Likes to bump and run. He'll come up and hit you. And one thing about J.C. Horn, he going to let you know how good he is. The whole game. He'll talk like his pops. And like I said, he with Jalen Ramsey now, so he even going to feel more being able to talk. But this is interesting, man. Some things have changed. Like I said, when we did Mock 1.0, I had the Colts taking him. But this is before Anthony Costanzo retired. So it may make sense for them to get one of these young offensive tackles. You know, like I said, Mr. Darashaw, Mr. Vera Tucker, a Jalen Mayfield, a Sam Cosmi. So it's going to be I think Frank Reich has his quarterback now.
I tell you,
for better
Dwayne,
or for worse.
It's funny because, like I said, we've been doing this a long time, and football season, you sometimes don't look at football season as like time of life going on. But when you think about Costanzo coming out and you remember, hold up, this is Andrew Luck's guy right here from college.
Yeah.
And when you sit back and think about how long ago that was when he got drafted, coming to play with his friend from college, Andrew Luck going through what he went through, then the Phillip Rivers experiment, and then now they on another quarterback. It's like amazing how, as we like to say, life comes at you fast, man. And
too fast. Like,
the Colts are an interesting team because it's another part of what the Colts did this year that I want to talk about later in the show. But they got their quarterback. They got what they believe is a franchise quarterback without giving up a number one pick, and I think that's very interesting. And it may affect them if he plays a certain amount of percentage of the plays, but
right.
They didn't give up this year's number one, so it could be kind of like a buyer's remorse. And if they was to cut him, it wouldn't affect their salary cap as much as it affected Philly's salary cap because they got the big cap penalty because the signing bonus was part of it. It's an amazing thing that goes on in that league.
Listen, I think it's a very good matchup, right? I think Frank Reich being with Carson Wentz, I think this is the perfect thing. You know, in a past life, I worked for a division of ESPN called Sports Ticker, and we were a wire service. We used to give our service out to radio stations, TV stations, teams all over the league. And Frank Reich had a company. It was called Athletes First. And they had the feed. So I was able to speak to Frank Reich on more than one occasion, and just his spirit, the way he carries himself, very religious man. Even when he was dealing with me, like he would say to me, I could tell, I know we're supposed to be talking business, but I could tell you got a little bit of faith up in you. And I would be like, yes, sir, Mr. Reich. And I say all that to say Carson Wentz is a very religious man. You know, he wears it on his sleeve, and he's done a lot of great things in Philadelphia in that regard. And the two of them are a match made in heaven, man. They know each other. It's no adjustment period for Carson Wentz. His adjustment period is going to come in that locker room. And some of the things that these players heard what he was doing in Philadelphia as well in the locker room. So it's going to be interesting. Hey, they didn't take a big gamble on Carson Wentz, to be honest, to me. They gave up a third this year and potentially a 1 next year.
Yeah.
If they're going to be as good as they think they are, that one's going to be late in the draft.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and we definitely want to talk about it. And I didn't want to delay you. Did you want me to play the J.C. Horn highlights? Because I know that cornerback is your favorite position.
Favorite position in the NFL.
One thing I would say cornerback is probably like my second or third. But one thing I know you like about cornerback is the way that cornerbacks are feisty.
Yeah, he is a feisty one. You'll see this in these highlights. He's a go-getter. He'll go up there and get it. He's going to hit you. He's going to talk his smack. He will press you. He can play press. He can be a cover 3, cover 2. I think this kid is going to be a steal. If he's picked anything after 15, I think he's going to be a steal. And I'm a big Patrick Surtain fan. I'm a big Caleb Farley fan. But I wouldn't be surprised if J.C. Horn comes out being the best of the 3. So we'll go again, and I know we give the credit for educational purposes to College Films. And we'll roll that tape, and you'll see for yourself. He's the type of corner you want on your team.
Play clock is down to 2. Snap to Nix. Sidearms it, and it's picked off by J.C. Horn, taking it back. With a second interception of the game, J.C. Horn stepping in front of Williams. Second and 10 for the Tigers. Here's Nix throwing a fade. Roberts. Incomplete. J.C. Horn doing a heck of a job. It is really hard to keep Williams when he gets his hands near the ball from knocking it away. On 3rd and 11, Nix in trouble. Escapes. Now Nix throws into traffic, and it's intercepted. There's J.C. Horn again making a play. I mean, he's been all over Seth Williams throughout the day, and he gets a huge pick here.
With the ball in his hands and a capable pass catcher coming out of the backfield.
Nix going back to the air, looking for Roberts here. Knocked up into the air and incomplete. J.C. Horn, good coverage on Williams. Nix from the pocket, throws, knocked away by Horn, incomplete. Going again for Williams. Pass appeared to be a little behind Seth Williams. Just outside the 10-yard line, Nix fires, broken up by J.C. Horn, incomplete.
Struggled the last 2 games is turning the football over in the red zone. Can they be better here?
Seals lost it up in the end zone. That one was almost picked off. J.C. Horn. 3rd down and 5. Nix from empty. Moving around. Flips it into traffic again, and it's picked off again. Intercepted by Jalen Dickerson. Really good so far. Yeah, the one mistake by Nix on the interception. Gets rid of the pass here. And at the 20-yard line. Eli Stove tackled by J.C. Horn.
Yeah, don't be fooling folks just because the highlights seem to be all from Auburn.
I'll say the funny thing about the highlights being all from Auburn is that he put out enough film on Auburn to last a lifetime because he definitely was giving it to him. And one thing I noticed, Dwayne, and this is key, a lot of NFL teams, and Eberflus, if he drafts him, Eberflus is smart. A lot of NFL teams always have this right corner, left corner thing. And if you see J.C. Horn, he could play both sides.
Both sides.
And that's key.
Listen, at South Carolina, he followed the best receiver, man. You know, as you can see, his swag just pops off at you on it. He gonna let you know. After every play, he gonna let you know about it. I like that about him. He's very aggressive. I think it would be a good pick. Listen, I don't think he should last to 21. I really don't. But if he's there, the coach should run up to it and get it done.
When you talk about before we showed the highlights, you was mentioning him, Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, and Caleb Farley. And I know that Caleb Farley, they try to say he's the better athlete. Looking at film of all three of them, I don't think that, and this is my opinion. I'm not a big draft guy. Basically, I just really gotten into it the last 4 or 5 years. But when I look at those three, and I look at certain film in them, you really can't miss drafting one of them.
Can't. Now, everybody wants to talk about Patrick Surtain and his speed. Oh, he doesn't have a lot of speed. What is he going to do again? Put the film on. Speed, running a 40 and all that, that's not football speed. What are you doing when you get between them white lines, man? And all three of these guys, I think it's like splitting the hairs with them. You don't know what you're going to get from Farley. He took a year off from football because he was concerned about the COVID, which I understand it. And people want to point to Patrick Surtain being down this year. Are you kidding me? No one threw at him. And then when they did, they paid for it. So again, it's splitting hairs. If I had to rate them, it's just me. If I had to rate them, I'm going Surtain 1, Horn 2, Farley 3. Now a lot of people like Farley because of his speed. I'm not saying Farley's not a good corner. He's the number 1 rated corner by most people. But for me, and I love this position, so I watch it. I think Surtain is 1. I like Horn 2. I like Farley 3. But again, can't go wrong with either one of them.
It's funny. It's funny. I'm about to say this. I could see Surtain playing. I could see all three of them starting as CB1.
Right.
But when you look at them, it looks like Surtain can play the nickel better than them two.
Yeah.
But those two, you can see free safety in them. It's a weird thing that they have, because Surtain, you could see, in my opinion, is a better tackler, and the other two are hitters. The other two, and it's funny because we talk about 2 former players' sons. Right. You could kind of see that. I've been the stuff since I was in grammar school, boy. Don't be thrown over here. You see that swagger, and those of us that love cornerbacks, that remember when the greatest cornerback that we ever seen, Prime, did it. When you go about your business and you prepare and you talk that stuff and you go back it up as a cornerback, it's kind of like fun because you out there on the island, man. You all by yourself.
What Prime always say: look good, feel good, play good, bro. And all three of these guys have what the kids say nowadays, that drip with their gear and their play. They got that drip, like these young cats say. But so you'll go right. That's 21 with the Colts, and then you go right at 22, and it's the Tennessee Titans. And courtesy and a credit to DraftWire. DraftWire has the Titans' needs as 1, an edge rusher, 2, a wide receiver, 3, we're going to use that term again, IDL, interior defensive lineman, 4, linebacker, and 5, safety. Some of the potential is Jason Ua, the edge rusher out of Penn State, Kwity Paye. I love Kwity Paye. He's out of Michigan, defensive lineman. Azizi Odolare, edge rusher. He'll play outside linebacker in the 3-4. He can put his hand in the dirt on a 4-3. So let's dispel the misnomer about edge and why everybody, where's edge coming from? Why all of a sudden the edge? Because if you look at T.J. Watt from Pittsburgh, he's an outside linebacker in a 3-4, but in a 4-3, he's an end. He's an edge rusher. He's coming off the edge. Whether he's coming in it, standing up in an outside linebacker position, or he got his hand in the dirt. So that's what we're talking about. You have some people that are pure defensive ends. They can stop the run, and they can get a little pressure on the quarterback. But there are specific players that are now edge. I want everybody, as you watch the NFL, you'll see there's buzzwords in this day of NFL. Not our NFL, not the NFL I was growing up on, but now you got 1 tech, 3 tech. Been saying that all night. Got edge rushers. You got run stuffers.
Stand-up linebacker.
Stand-up linebackers. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of different things that you have. I also think a potential player for them here is an Alex Leatherwood. And people knock Alex Leatherwood, right? And why do people knock Alex Leatherwood? Because all he does is play for Alabama since he was a freshman. So you had time to nitpick on him. He went into this year being the #1 offensive tackle in the draft. His play didn't drop off this year at Alabama. But yet, all of a sudden, he the 5th or 6th best tackle. And that's what happens, man. They start nitpicking. They start finding things about you. And I'm telling you, Alex Leatherwood is going to be a steal for a playoff team late in the first round, man.
It's funny you said that, because when we talked during the week, and if for the folks that don't know, me and Dwayne actually don't focus on the first round. We do the first round for the sake of our shows,
right?
But a lot of our stuff is we looking for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round guys. Definitely, because you can get the 10-year. You can get the 10, 11-year starter in the later rounds. You get the, and we all know Dwayne is a diehard Michigan fan, so he remembers Tom Brady before nobody else remembers Tom Brady, 6th-round pick.
Right.
And
everybody highlights the 1st-round draft pick, right? But your team is built in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. That's where your team is built. Especially in this salary cap era where a quarterback could take up $20 million of your cap space. Your team is built in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. And then if you could steal a couple of gems in the 5th and the 6th and the 7th, get you an undrafted that just blossoms. But the meat and potatoes of a draft is the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. But the person that gets all the fanfare in the pub, the 1st-round draft pick.
And it's crazy because, Dwayne, I know the beginning of this process, all of the experts were saying, "Oh, it's not a top-heavy draft." But when you're going through this draft, I hate to tell folks, even in the age of COVID, where a lot of these big players sat out, that these scouts this year, I think that anybody after the draft that hits that A mark and hits that B mark, this is a very interesting draft, because you may have a guy who sat out that played Division II, and that scout may be able to go find him, and it's a very, very deep, interesting draft. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
We had I went through the potential players, but the one that I picked for the Tennessee Titans and the Let's Talk Mock 1.0, man, to me, this kid has all the measurables. It's something about this kid. He's young in the game of football. You'll see the highlights of him. He wearing number 15. He's an edge rusher. He's from the U, not Union High School, but he's from Miami, the University of Miami. It's a young man. That's my man Q's team. And it's this young man, Jalen Phillips. And Q will give y'all his comparison after the highlights. Again, College Films, thank you. And we'll take a look at this edge rusher from Miami, Jalen Phillips.
An old setup at the 39. It's a reverse. But retreating and dropped all the way back to the 40 is Travis. And the ball's out. A turnover for Florida State. A disastrous play. One play after they were given a gift.
Dancing at the line. And he will rush. Hockman is sacked. He's dropped. Jalen Phillips, the UCLA transfer.
Down for the Hokies, trailing by 1. This great rivalry dating all the way back to the days of the Big East Conference. Hooker escapes and finally is brought down by Jalen Phillips. Another TFL.
And it puts a lot of pressure now on Kenny Dillingham to call the plays. Tough way to start the drive.
Hot pass, and Miwa swarmed. Jalen Phillips just invaded the backfield to knock Scary Terry down.
They're two defensive ends, Quincy Roche and Jalen Phillips. Watch this matchup throughout the day.
Yeah, we got NFL talent there. And speaking of devil, Phillips drags down Hooker for a sack.
Miami brings just 4. Yellen steps up. Now he's going to get sacked. Ball comes free, too. It looks like Miami has recovered. Roche came out of there with the football. That's a huge turnover.
Second and 10. Here comes the heat. Hooker's going to be bottled up and sacked behind the 20. Jalen Phillips, number 15, the UCLA transfer.
And training camp didn't, help his situation, but they do need him to protect the ball much better than he has.
Trying to throw on second down, but he's going to go down in a heap. And Jalen Phillips all over him, the outstanding defensive end, as he picks up his 6th sack of the season. He has been a monster.
And again, shows his accuracy downfield.
First and goal, Howell still got it, and they finally are able to wrap him up. That's the first sack for this Miami defense. The ends, Roche and Phillips making a play finally. The last Miami drive, and now the Tigers' third possession. Lawrence rolls out, chase, and he'll be spun down. That's Jalen Phillips. That's his first sack of the season, misleading up. He's made a big impact in the 4 games.
Exactly why they're here tonight at 7-1.
It's a great point, and
Yeah, one thing I would say about big number 15, man, his get off, man. That first step, he's violent with his hands. Now listen, he gotta learn how to be able to be a run stopper. Right now I think early in his career, he's a person that's gonna come in pure passing down, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and you tell that young man, just go eat. Just go eat. You can see it. It pops. Started at UCLA, transferred to the U. Big, quick, violent with his hands. And he knows how to get after the quarterback, and he knows how to get that ball out the quarterback hands. He don't just sack you. He gets that strip sack fumble.
One thing I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued about him is I am a Miami Hurricane fan. Do you? I'm always intrigued when I watch defensive ends, and I always when I watch defensive ends, I look for a couple things. The one thing I look for as a defensive end is, can you do it from the strong side? Because you always getting chipped by the tight end. Jalen can do it from both sides. I believe potentially in the NFL he'll be a right defensive end. I believe if you just tell him on a team like Tennessee to just go get the quarterback, he'll produce in a big level. I think Vrabel can use him in a position that me and Dwayne always call. A lot of defensive coordinators call this position the joker, where basically if you are a multiple safety or a defensive end, you could play a stand-up linebacker. You could go coverage. You're just all over the place. One thing that Tennessee has not been able to do is get a pass rush from the outside. They whiffed on Vic Beasley, which is weird, and they whiffed on Clowney. Clowney battled injuries all year. Jalen Phillips, and I know this comparison may surprise a lot of people, but I really, really want people to go back and look at a guy that played for Kansas City, and then he played for the Vikings. He will go to the Hall of Fame. His name is Jared Allen. That's who Jalen Phillips reminds me of. Just a solid player. You stick in there. He's playing 11 years for you. He'll average 8 sacks. He's not going to give you a problem. And just go out there, as we would say, Dwayne, back in the day, a lunch pail guy.
Yeah, and one of the very interesting things that I've seen and doing my pre-draft work, because everybody knows I love the draft. I love it just as much as the season. When you look at head coach Manny Diaz and the Miami Hurricanes, and they're giving you 3 edge rushers in this draft. 2 are projected to go in the first round.
Broussard.
Yeah, the big fella. You got him. You got Jalen Phillips. And then second or third round, you got Quincy Roche, man. So the U on that defensive end, that edge rusher, they work well off each other. And you got Broussard, and you got Phillips, and you got Roche. And I think Mike Vrabel will do some good things with this young man. And I think he will be a very, very good pickup for the Tennessee Titans.
Even if a team get Broussard, one of the things I want the team that gets Broussard to understand is that I think that he's going to go he'll go in the first round. Just wait, folks. He's the type of guy that's going to bloom late. He's not going to be one of them guys that's going to bust out early. I believe he's going to be one of them guys that by the third year of his career, with the right defensive line coach, that's when you'll see big numbers by him. He's the one that.
He's a Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
The one that the Las Vegas Raiders drafted. Didn't jump off with a big eye-popping rookie year, but by the time he's in third or fourth year, you're going to be like, damn, that was a good draft pick for the Raiders. So he's the same. We got the Houston Texans, who is an organization that's in major flux right now. In our first mock draft, I had the Texans. They don't have a first-round pick, but in our first mock draft, I had them trading Deshaun Watson to the New York Jets for Sam Darnold and 3 first-round picks, one being the number 2 pick in the draft this year. And in my mock, with the number 2 pick in the draft, I had them taking the best offensive lineman, Penei Sewell, to protect Sam Darnold. So we'll see what Houston's going to do. There's some interesting happenings. Me and Quentin spoke about it last week and a little bit this week. Seems like Carolina Panthers is gearing up with some of the things they're doing to potentially make a run and try to get Deshaun Watson and give them Teddy Bridgewater and their draft, their life.
I'm gonna ask you something about it involves Houston and it involves the Colts because of their trade with Philly. And not to veer too far off, but I was thinking about it before we started the show, and even involves with Russell Wilson. We know that quarterback is 15 to 20% of your salary cap.
Absolutely.
And Dwayne, one of the things that even though I get on the show and I said Russell Wilson was out of his damn mind last week, and I mean that. I think he's kind of crazy to try to lead that organization. However, if you look at the 4 organization he thinks about if they trade him, it's interesting that he's using these 4 marquee organizations to use as leverage. But let me ask you a question, which I think is interesting, and the players need to be careful. If Deshaun Watson gets traded and Russell Wilson gets traded, their original teams take a major salary cap hit, dead money. For those in the chat that don't understand, dead money is money that you can't recover on that year's salary cap. It's basically a slot that was there for the signing bonus, and you can't use that money. It's just money that's on your cap, and the player's no longer on your team.
The Philadelphia Eagles taking the biggest cap hit in the history of
the league.
They're taking a $33.8 million cap hit on Carson Wentz. So that's $33.8 million against their salary cap for a player that's not even going to suit up for them.
So Dwayne, let me ask you: with these 3 quarterbacks, and definitely Russell, because he's more accomplished than the other 2. He's actually won a Super Bowl, another Super Bowl appearance. Are we treading down dangerous waters with these teams wanting to give these players big salaries? Because every organization is not going to be too kind with these cap hits.
Here's my thinking on it, right? So you look at Russell, you look at Deshaun, you look at Dak Prescott. The hits for the organization may come, and they may feel it in the 2021 season and the 2022 season. But folks, a new TV deal is about to hit, and that's going to blow that cap up, man, because they're going to get big money in this latest TV contract. So we know quarterbacks, they make the league, man. They get all the credit and they take all the blame. So it's rare that you get somebody like Tom Brady, a guy that's been to 10 Super Bowls, won 7 of them, but is a middle-of-the-road quarterback in terms of how much he demands. It's rare. Now, listen, you don't count another man's money, okay? So we understand he has a supermodel wife, and she brings a lot of money in there too. But Tom Brady wants to win championships. So he took less money so that teams could be built around him. Listen, Jason Lichty is the general manager of Tampa Bay. But last year's general manager of Tampa Bay was Tom Brady. And if you look at all the players Tom Brady brought in, Gronk, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, look what they all did in the playoff in that Super Bowl run. So you see these stats where they say no team has won the Super Bowl with a quarterback taking up 20% of the space. Throw that damn thing out the window. One quarterback's been to 10 Super Bowls in the last 20 years. So that stat means nothing to me. But when you look at a team like Houston, they signed Deshaun Watson to a big deal, and he signed it. And let's be fair, like we talked about previously on this show, he sat in that press conference and he cried, talking about how great it was that they believed in him. Now he had a meeting last week with the new coach, told the new coach, you're a nice guy, not playing for you. I want to be traded. So Houston is in a no-win situation. So they're going to ask for a lot. Listen, the Colts basically stole Carson Wentz, folks, because the Eagles had no leverage. They had a quarterback that did not want to be there, and they had to trade him. So they had to take a third round pick this year in a conditional second.
Do you think? I'm actually. Do you think?
Is great. I think he's a top 5 quarterback, and I think it's going to cost the Houston Tech. It's going to cost the team a lot to get him. I don't know if Houston's going to get 3 first-rounders. I think they may get 2. And if they do that, I think a team like the Jets, because the Jets can give them Sam Darnold, who I think still has a world of potential. I don't know. Would you want Sam Darnold or Teddy Bridgewater? I think I want Sam Darnold.
I think absolutely. It's kind of crazy that Jacoby Brissett and Teddy Bridgewater can't catch a break. But I'm gonna ask you, Dwayne. And I'm not trying to harp on the organization. I'm usually a player's guy.
Absolutely.
But I just find it interesting that Philly, potentially Houston, and it might be Seattle. Those teams, if you understand the history of those teams and the markets they play in, they can kind of take a hit like that. What happens when a team 5 years from now, 6 years from now, Trevor Lawrence pops, and even though Saad Khan personally has money, he's still within the confines of a salary cap.
Right.
What happens when these small market teams quarterbacks is like, I want out after you get paid? See, that's where I'm having the understanding, like, what it's just like a business. We always hear football is a business. When you go in there and you negotiate your contract, nobody's counting your money. But when you go in there, you should say, you should be saying, yeah, you want to get paid, you want to be compensated. Right. This is definitely the watershed moment for your career. However, are you asking that organization, well, what's your 5-year plan?
Well,
What's your
yeah,
business
but
model?
it's ironic that you used a 5-year plan, right? So the draft class that's in the biggest news right now is the 2016 draft class. And the quarterbacks of the 2016. You got number 1 pick overall, Jared Goff. He's no longer with the team that drafted him. Number 1 overall. Gave up a lot of draft capital for him. Okay? The Philadelphia Eagles gave up a lot of draft capital for Carson Wentz. And here we are 5 years later, and neither team has that quarterback that they signed to big long-term deals. Now, the Eagles went to a Super Bowl, right? Carson Wentz played a role in the regular season, getting them on that way to the Super Bowl, and then Nick Foles took over. But think about it. Was Carson Wentz worth it for the Philadelphia Eagles when you see what they gave up in the draft, okay? What they didn't get from the Colts, and they took a $33.8 million dead cap hit.
And basically got rid of Super Bowl winning quarterback and Super Bowl winning coach.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic because if you put the spotlight on the ownership and Howie, as my boys say, the Super Bowl was like, a deal with the devil, so to say. Like, wow.
It seemed like it was a lifetime ago, too.
Yeah. And we haven't been really on the Eagles as much as we've been trying to be easy on the Eagles because we're not Eagle fans.
Hey, man,
but
I can't say nothing to the Eagles. I got a quarterback issue right now in Dak Prescott as a Cowboy fan. I'm tired of hearing it every day on the 3 and 4 letter networks. But that just comes with it. But I just think it's going to be very interesting in this AFC South. Tannehill versus Wentz. If I had to rate who the best quarterback is in the AFC South right now, I'm going with Tannehill.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you, Dwayne.
I mean,
why?
Deshaun, I don't think Deshaun's going to be there. Let me say
why you think a lot of these quarterbacks are not taking the Tom Brady route? And what I mean by that is that usually, Dwayne, quarterback, and we know quarterback is the face.
Right.
Definitely in these big market teams. Okay.
Now listen,
we get it.
Quarterback, I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with Dak Prescott. This man was making. Now listen, relative, okay, folks. Don't say it thinking I'm crazy. Relatively, he was a poor ass quarterback, Dak Prescott. His first 4 or 5 years, man, the most he made was $2 million in the season. Now, the Cowboys didn't capitalize on that window and win a chip while he was cheap. So now they got to pay him. Okay, they got to pay him. Because if you don't give him a long-term deal, he's going to take a franchise at $37.7 million. Then he's unrestricted because they're not going to give him $50 million in, on a franchise tag year 3. Now, all these people, Stephen A. Smith of the world, Louis Riddick of the world, all these guys talk about the Cowboys disrespecting Dak. If they franchise him again, I want people to realize that's a 2-year, $70 million deal. It's not pennies.
Yeah.
And they offered him $125 guaranteed last year.
And they have until for those that don't know, our next show will kind of like tell because they have until March 9th to franchise him.
Yeah. So it's coming. We're gonna see. Either he's gonna be franchised or he's gonna be a long term. And if I had to predict, I think you're gonna see Dak Prescott sign a 3-year, $125 million deal.
And in 3 years, Dak Prescott has signed the biggest NFL contract ever.
Yes, he
after that per year.
Yeah.
Per year.
I think he signs for 3 years, $125 million. I think the Cowboys have no choice, and I just think that's what it's going to be.
Great show, Dwayne.
But the Houston Texans is interesting, and if I could just say one thing, right? Don't get caught up in semantic, folks. And y'all know I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. I love him. I think Russell Wilson could be the president of the United States one day. And everybody thought I was bugging when I said that, but I meant it. But don't hear Russell Wilson and his camp say, oh, we didn't request a trade. Let me tell you something. When you got 4 teams and you making it known that there's 4 teams you would go to, that's requesting the trade, folks.
That's like telling your girlfriend, I still want us to be together, but I just want to date other girls.
Yeah.
So, like Dwayne said, that's requesting a trade.
Yeah, that's requesting a trade. And let's remember, again, like we said, we don't want to count somebody's money. You know, Tom Brady got a superstar, supermodel. Russell Wilson got Ciara. Now, Ciara the most highly paid entertainer in the music industry? No. But if you think about some of the places he's trying to get his wife to, Dallas, New Orleans, Chicago, more now, more. He's trying to take care of wifey too, man. So, hey, listen, man. It's always a great time with my boy Q talking a little football. You see the shirt is wrinkled, but we Vauxhall born and raised, and this is what we've been doing since we was in the playgrounds of Jefferson School. And
so next week we're going to talk about NFC South.
Listen,
the NFC South.
I'm excited. We're 2 weeks away from the draft, and once we go through these this division by division, which I'm loving, and I'm loving the highlights. Then we're going to give you that 2.0 mock draft, which is going to put us right up against the draft. And y'all will be able to say Dwayne is nuts, Dwayne is crazy, whatever. Oh, this is a T-shirt, Dre, and I got
Give him a plug. Give him a plug. Go ahead.
Got it from Jermaine and Bernard Burns. They're making the Vauxhall T-shirts. Reach out to those gentlemen. They got a website, and they got different designs. And like I said, this one is Vauxhall born and raised. And it got all the streets listed on the back of it. And so we about where we from. We love football. We love the NFL. I love the NFL. Let me cover this one up. I'll cover that one up because they're the Washington football team now. They ain't that old thing. So I'm going to cover it. But thank you for watching us. Thank you for just continue to like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We thank Dre for checking in with us always. Nicole's another one that checks in for us always. The wonderful Julia Dozier, always checking. Didn't see my boy Spiros tonight, but that's okay. And I'll try to find it, Dre, and we'll hit you with that. I'll have Q inbox you because, you know, I'm on the social media fast right now, so I'm not on social media. But, yeah. Hey, any time spent with my man right here on the split screen is good time spent. Hey, listen, y'all put my man Emmanuel Acho's feet to the fire a little bit. Okay? You know how to control this Emmanuel Acho.
I'm gonna close the show with a promotion for my next show.
Yes, sir.
A show that I'm proud to be bringing back. A little hiatus, but should be bringing back with that. Everybody stay safe out there, man.
Person, we in here, man. We just